Hello everyone, welcome to AFS Hackers. I'm Afshan and I'm so excited and happy to share that I'm starting a series of cyber safety related topic on this channel. Actually, I've designed this course to teach basic cybersecurity topics and to provide self-help resources for people who have been victims of cyber attack. By taking this course, you are committing yourself to be a smarter and safer user of the internet and internet connected devices such as phones and computers. I hope you find the information to be not only practical but also enjoyable. So without further ado, let's start the first episode of this training, that is Introduction to Cybersecurity. Before we begin learning about the introduction of cybersecurity, let's see some key terms related to the topic. So the first term is vulnerability. So basically, a vulnerability is a weakness in a system or device that can be exploited to allow unauthorized access, elevation of privileges, or denial of service. So it is called vulnerability. So vulnerability is a basic flaw in your system or your network or your devices. Let's see the second term, that is threat. A cybersecurity threat refers to any possible malicious attack that seeks to unlawfully access data, disrupt digital operations, or damage information. Next is social engineering. Social engineering is the term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interaction. It uses psychological manipulation to trick user into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. So basically, it's a mechanism of human and human interaction. The attacker just manipulate the victim thoughts and accomplish their task. Next is personally identifiable information, or PII. PII is any data that can be used to identify a particular person. We will see what are the information included in PII, or personally identifiable information, in the upcoming slides. So the first thing first, we have to understand what is cybersecurity. So the cybersecurity is the protection of internet connected systems, including hardware, software, and data from cyber attack. Or we can say cybersecurity is the practice of protecting critical systems and sensitive information from digital attackers or cyber attack. I have read somewhere that the cybercrime is one of the toughest challenges that the world is facing today, and it is said to cost the world up to trillions of dollars annually. So it is really important to be aware of the potential threats of the cybercrime because it affects us all. Let's see the next topic, that is why is it important to be safe online? It is really important to be safe online because obviously in our daily lives we are rely on computers, mobile devices, and the internet for so many things, right? And we need to be safe online because we have to protect our digital assets, right? Let's see the first myth, that is, I have seen a lot of people who said that we are not sharing information online and that's the reason we are untraceable. It is not true actually. The reality is different. So the truth is, publicly available government records, court records, or records of any organization or committee that you are a member of are all viable sources of personal information. So if you are thinking that you are untraceable, then you are wrong. You have government records, right? And anybody can trace you by using that government records. So it is a big lie that you are not traceable. Let's see the second myth, that is, information you post online is only shared with your family and friends. So I have seen a lot of youngsters nowadays, they are sharing each and everything related to their relationships, their families, their birthday, their marks, their results, all the stuff. They are sharing each and everything online. And they think that, they are sharing this information with their family and friends. But the reality is different. The truth is, the internet is a mysterious place, and you never know where your information will ultimately end up. Even if you are being careful and deleting data that exposes personal information, there is always a chance that your personal information has been copied and stored in a location where it can be accessed by criminals. The people are sharing so much information on their social media platform. Like if you go to Instagram, they are posting their relationship status, that I'm already taken, or I'm in a relationship with this guy, like they have already mentioned the ID of that guy, that let's meet my boyfriend, let's meet my girlfriend. Like these are the personal stuff, but the youngster and the people nowadays, they are just exposing so much information about themselves. They are giving so much access to these criminals. So don't share a lot of information about you and your family and your relationship status. Let's identify PII. Okay, so the PII include your name. In name, we have full name, maiden name, mother's maiden name, or alias. Like you don't have to share this information with anybody. I'm just sharing all the possible PII in this slide. Let's see the second information, that is personal identification numbers. It includes your social security number. If you are from India, so we have our Aadhaar card number. Our PAN card number is also there. Passport number, driver's license number, taxpayer identification number, patient identification number, financial account numbers, or credit card numbers, or we have debit card as well, right? So these comes under personal identification number. Let's see the third information, that is personal address information. That include street address or email address. Fourth one is personal telephone numbers. Like don't ever share your personal telephone number to strangers. Don't just randomly share your personal number on social media platform. Don't do that. Number 5 is personal characteristics, that is photographic images, particularly of face or other identifying characteristics such as fingerprints or handwriting. Next is biometric data, that is retina scans, voice signatures, or facial geometry. Next one is information identifying personally owned property, that is VIN number or title numbers. Last is asset information such as internet protocol, that is your IP address, your MAC address, that is media access control address, that consistently linked to a particular person. Like I'm using this particular laptop to record my videos, so obviously I also have this MAC address and I also have this IP address. So these addresses are particularly linked to a person. Let's see some other examples of PII. These examples on their own do not constitute PII, as more than one person could share these traits. However, when linked or linkable to one of the previous examples, the following could be used to identify a specific person. So that information include your date of birth, your place of birth, business telephone numbers, business mailing or email address, your race, religion, geographical indicators, employment information, medical information, education, and financial information. This information could be used to identify a person. Basically, if a company suffers a data breach, it is critical to determine whether the attackers acquire access to the personal information of the company's customer. Breach victims are at risk because exposed PII can be sold on the dark web and used to perpetrate identity theft. That's why it is critical to safeguard your personal identifiable information and limit how often and with whom you disclose it. Let's see the next slide, that is what are the physical threat to personally identifiable information. So let's see the first threat, that is dumpster diving. So dumpster diving involves looking in a trash for any valuable information like data written on pieces of paper or computer printouts. The hacker can often find passwords, file names, or other pieces of confidential information. So never ever write your passwords on or important or sensitive information on paper, and don't just write your password on notepad. Like I have seen a lot of people who have created this notepad document and they have included each and every password in their notepad. So I think it is not a good practice to store your password in a notepad and in a Word file, because if somebody finds that particular document, then your account will be compromised, right? So don't do that mistake. Let's see the second threat, that is shoulder surfing. Shoulder surfing refers to the act of acquiring personal or private information through direct observation. Shoulder surfing involves looking over a person's shoulder to obtain vital information while the victim is unaware. This is most common in crowded places where a person uses a computer, smartphone, or ATM. If you are typing your password, so just look around and see if somebody is watching you or not, and then type your password. This is the best way you can protect your password from shoulder surfing. Just look around and then type your password. Next is eavesdropping. The act of secretly listening to a private conversation or communications of others without their consent in order to gather information. So if I'm sharing my ATM pin to my mother on phone, then maybe my colleague is listening to this conversation secretly because he or she wants to know my ATM pin. Like, I'm just giving you example, guys. So this is how eavesdropping work. Let's see the second threat, that is tailgating. Tailgating is a technique where the attacker gaining an entry to an electronically locked system is to follow someone through the door they just unlock. Let's see the next threat, that is pretexting. Pretexting attack is a specific kind of social engineering focused on creating a good pretext or a fabricated scenarios that scammers can use to trick their victim into giving up on their own personal information. So in pretexting, they are creating a fake scenario, right? For example, a person impersonates a delivery boy and waits outside the building. When an employee gains security approval and opens their door, the attacker asks the employee hold the door, thereby gains the access to the company through the authorized person. This is just a one example of pretexting. There are so many great examples out there in social engineering books. So I highly recommend you guys to at least read these social engineering books so that you will get a great understanding how the social engineering attacks and pretexting, tailgating, eavesdropping, how these attacks actually work. Now let's see the ways to secure or how to secure the mobile devices. As you guys know, a large portion of our information is saved on computers and our mobile, or we can say electronical devices, right? So let's see some common electronical devices that include smartphones, laptops, tablets, digital cameras, smartwatches, for example, Apple Watch, and the flash drives. In our day-to-day life, we are rely on these particular electronical devices. Let's see how to protect them. So tips to protect your mobile. The first tip is keep security apps updated. A very important tip. Just make sure that your security apps are updated. Let's see the next tip, that is delete apps that you are no longer using. For example, if you are not using Sony Live app or if you are not using Vote app, so you guys can happily uninstall this app or delete this app. Let's see the third tip, that is disable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth when not in use, especially in public places. So I have this habit of disabling Wi-Fi and Bluetooth when I'm leaving my house. So you guys can also do the same. Like when you are leaving your home, then just disable the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and then go. Let's see the fourth tip, that is make sure to use strong password to lock your devices. We will learn more about creating strong password in a upcoming episode. For now, just make sure that you are using strong password. Strong password means your password contain upper letter, lower letter, special characters, or even space. Okay. Number 5 is think through what personal information you are allowing your apps to access. Like if you go to the setting option and go to the app manager where you can see all the access of your app, like whether you allow your location to the particular app or maybe your storage media, your camera access, or maybe your microphone access, just check and disallow if that is not necessary for that app. Let's see the next step, that is if an app appears sketchy, read the reviews and scan the privacy policy before installing it on your device. So I always go through reviews and I always check like how many people have already downloaded this particular app. So if I see the 1 million people downloaded or maybe 3 million people downloaded and I see the good reviews, then I'll go and install that app. Number 7 is log out of social media app once you are done using them. Very important tip. Number 8 is stay away from pirated material. Like if you want to watch any maybe Netflix series, so you always want to find a way to watch it for free, right? For that matter, you install some software, or more specifically, you install malware. So I don't recommend these type of pirated software or pirated material to download on your computer or your laptop, because it will harm your files, it will harm your computer, your account will be compromised. So just stay away from pirated software. Let's see some tips to protect your computer. So number 1 is use a firewall. Windows and Mac OS operating system have built-in firewalls. Firewall prevent unauthorized access to your business network and alert you to any intrusion attempts. So make sure the firewall is enabled before you go online. Number 2 is installed antivirus software. Computer viruses and malwares are everywhere. Antivirus programs such as Bitdefender and Malwarebytes protect against your unauthorized code of software that may threaten your operating system. Make sure you have installed antivirus software on your computer or on your laptop. Number 3 is install an anti-spyware package. You guys might thinking that we have already installed antivirus software, then why there is a need of anti-spyware software. So basically, spyware is a special kind of software that secretly monitors and collects personal or organizational information. Some spyware records every keystroke to gain access to password and other financial information. Make sure you have an anti-spyware package installed on your computer. Let's see the fourth tip, that is use complex password. So basically passwords are first line of defense. So the more secure your passwords are, the harder it is for an attacker to invade your system. So make sure you are using a complex or strong password. Let's see the tip number 5, that is keep your OS, apps and browser up to date. Very important tip. Just make sure that you have up-to-date version of your Windows operating system, your apps and your browser like Google Chrome, Mozilla. Just make sure that they are updated. Number 6 is ignore spam. Be aware of email messages from unknown parties and never click on links or open attachments that accompany them. So basically you don't have to click on any link or download any attachments from unknown sources. Let's see the tip number 7, that is backup your computer daily. I think it is important, like if you hit by a ransomware and you have your backup data, then you don't have to pay any ransomware, right? So just back up your data on a daily basis. Let's see the tip number 8, that is shut it down. If you are not using your computer or your laptop, you can switch off your machine. Number 9 is secure your network. Routers don't usually come with the highest security settings, and when setting up your network, log into your router and set a password using a secure and encrypted setup. This will prevent intruders from infiltrating your network and messing with your setting. Number 10 is use encryption. For example, even if a criminals gain access to your network and files, encryption can prevent them from accessing any of that information. You guys can encrypt your Windows hard drive with the software called BitLocker. Yes, yeah, BitLocker. And the Mac OS, we have File Vault, and you guys can also encrypt your USB flash drive that contains any sensitive information and the confidential information that you don't want to share. And you guys can also use the VPN to encrypt web traffic. Let's see the tip number 11. Don't open suspicious attachments or click unusual links in a message or in tweets or in post. Just don't click on any link, just don't download any attachments. Okay, let's see the last tip, that is don't use USBs or other external devices unless you own them. For example, if your friend is giving you his or her USB drive, Don't use that USB because maybe it contain malicious software, or maybe any keylogger basically. So don't just blindly trust your friends, don't just blindly trust your colleagues. Just make sure that you are using your own USB, you are using your own external devices. So these are the tips of protecting your computers and devices. Let's see the next slide, that is, so let's talk about email. An email address is essential for most transactions these days. From activating a mobile smartphone to making online purchases to setting up an online account, an email address is more than just another method for someone to contact you. Your email account may contain sensitive and important communication and is often connected to important accounts such as your bank. So email address are essential. Now let's see how we can protect our email. Tips to protect your email. Here are some easy steps to protect yourself online. They can help protect your family and friends too, and help to prevent your email from being hacked. So the first tip is avoid opening attachments unless you already know what it is. I have explained this two times now. Now I'm explaining third time that don't download attachments and click on any link from unknown sources. Just don't open their email. Let's see the tip number 2. That is, don't click any login links or buttons in an email message. Number 3 is learn to identify phishing scam. Basically, phishing scam rely on emotions. Let's see the tip number 4. That is, do not share your password with anyone. Like, don't share your password or pin unless you believe that person, like for example, your family member. Like, I can share my password with my mom, or I can share my pin with my mom and dad. So this is how it works. Like, you don't have to share your password with your BF or your GF. Yes, it's a basic rule that do not share your password with anyone. Let's see the tip number 5. That is, make your security questions and answers difficult to guess. Let's see the tip number 6. That is, use two-factor authentication or two-step verification, or we have multi-factor authentication as well. So two-factor authentication provide the second layer of defense to your accounts. So enable two-factor authentication for your Gmail, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram account. They all offer two-factor authentication. So just make sure you enable that setting. Tip number 7 is don't allow browsers or mobile phone to remember your email accounts or password. Very important tip. Tip number 9 is be cautious when giving out your email address. Like, first of all, don't share your email address with strangers, and don't just share your email address on social media. Like, just contact me on this Gmail address. Like, you don't have to do that. Be cautious, like, to whom you are sharing your email address and your personal information. Let's see the next important topic, that is web browser. So the web browser is a software application used for retrieving, presenting, and navigating information resources on a World Wide Web. The following internet browsers are recommended for safe browsing, that is Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and the last one is Safari for Mac OS. Web browsers are essential part of our life. If I want to search anything, so I'll go to Google and I search that thing, right? So the protection of our web browser is also important. So let's see some tips related to protecting your web browser. So the first tip is use pop-up blockers. Pop-up rules can be changed in a browser settings or option menu. So let's see this thing in action. So as you guys can see, this is a Google Chrome browser, and just click on this three dot and go to settings, and after go to this privacy and security option here, or tab. Click on this privacy and security option, and just go to the security. Just select the enhanced protection and make sure that you have enabled this setting, that is always use secure connection. Secure connection means you are navigating to HTTPS, okay, not HTTP, and warn you before leading site that don't support it. So make sure that you have enabled this setting. I've already enabled it. And second one is use secure DNS. Okay, enable this setting as well. And the next thing I want to show you, just go back and in site security, let's click on the site security. I have, the permission, in permission section, I have don't allow site to see my location. Just click on the location, and as you guys can see, sites can ask for your location. So I don't want that option, so I'll select this, don't allow site to see my location. Same with the camera, microphone, and notifications. This is what we have discussed, the pop-up and redirects. Just click on this and select this, that is don't allow sites to send pop-ups or user redirects. Make sure you have selected this particular option for pop-ups and redirects. Let's go back. We have cookies and site data. Let's click on it. So for safety purpose, I always select block third-party cookies. This section is also important. Clear cookies and site data when you close all the windows. I'm sorry about the noise, guys, because it's raining here. So let's see the next step, that is look for a padlock in the address bar. The padlock indicates secure mode. Tip number 3 is look for the S after HTTP in the web's address, indicating the website is secure. Like always use HTTPS sites rather than HTTP. Let's see the tip number 4. That is make sure automatic updates are turned on and working efficiently. Tip number 5 is be aware of using the autofills and built-in password management features in your browser. Autofill fills in the field on a form automatically according to the information that the user have previously used. And the tip number 6 is clear your browser history. Like once you've done your online banking transaction, or maybe once you've done your checking your Gmail, then you just have to clear your browser history. Last tip is browse the web safely. Like don't go for inappropriate site and download any unnecessary malicious virus. So I highly recommend you guys to browse the web safely. So these are the tips of protecting your web browser. I hope you will implement these best practices or these tips in your day-to-day life. I hope you like this video, guys. If you did, then share this video with your family, friends, your kids, because nowadays cyber criminals are going after families. And make sure that you guys are subscribing to my YouTube channel. We'll see you in my next episode. Till then, take care and keep learning.